Good morning, everybody. What a beautiful life. What a life. What a life. What a life that I've been given. What a life. You see, the truth ain't pretty, but coming from that pretty mouth. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much. I cannot even believe the amount of love we've been getting. Truly, truly a miracle, honestly. Having so much fun bringing the messages forward, having so much fun learning how to use our spiritual gifts with you. We hope that it helps in any way, shape, or form. My name is Patience. Thank you so much for being here. Patience with Spirit. We are here with our very own spirit team in real time. They just said sitting next to you. I just did my prayer, did my protection, I did all my stuff. And they said sitting next to you.
Turn off the lights.
Turn off the lights? I don't know. Let me see. I'm sorry. No co-hosting for this episode. Let me see. Oh. Yeah, I like the light on. Spirit's like, turn the light off. I'm like, I like it on. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Patience. I'm your favorite spirit medium, host of Spirit News on all major platforms, a podcast where we teach you about your non-physical energy, about energy through our very own spirit team, the Guild of the Golden Triangle. And I'm sorry, I'm new to live, so forgive me, I'm new to TikTok Live. We decided we were guided to go to TikTok Live as opposed to YouTube Live. We do YouTube Lives every weekend, every Saturday and Sunday. We try to do a celebrity and a true crime, to try to get higher perspectives of linear views, using our spiritual gifts to talk to people who have crossed over, souls who have crossed over, to see if we can get a higher perspective of their linear view. So it's been really fun. I've been guided to come to TikTok. I've been shadow banned on YouTube for whatever reason. It's not a big deal. Whoever needs to hear the message will come, and so it's not a big deal. So good morning. We hope all is well. Spirit said certain. We hope all is well. We love you so much. We are so happy to be here, to be of service, to use our gifts for service, to be able to understand things we don't understand, things that are not seen, things that are not known, things that we need a higher perspective of, that we need our spirit team for. So we've documented all of our observations, all of our spirit nuggets, all of the way that we have gotten to this level of consciousness on our podcast Spirit News, where we bring you higher perspectives of linear views. So if you want to check that out, you can definitely go through the link in the bio to the YouTube and find all of the links there for you. We post every weekend. Every weekend we post on Saturday and Sunday morning for your educational purposes. We hope that everyone is doing well in this energy and the shift that we're going through. We're going through a big, major consciousness shift, and it's everything is aligning perfectly as it should, even if it might be a little chaotic, even if it might feel a little unknown. Just know that we're on a timeline. If you're watching this, you're on my timeline, and my timeline is going right up to the top, so don't you worry. And we hope you're finding joy through all of the tumultuous things you're going through. Just remember, whatever you're going through, because of duality, there's going to be good and bad. So you can choose to focus on the bad of what's going on, or you can choose to focus on how you want it to be. And so that's kind of the MO that we've been following, and we're living our best life, and it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you for all the love and support. We wanted to talk to Howard Hughes today. I know it's 2025, so there's a lot of people that might not know about Howard Hughes, but he's definitely a character in our history that I think is misunderstood.
Types of spirits.
Types of spirits. Spirits and types of spirits. Okay, so tell me about it. So what we do know about Howard Hughes, what was told to us, it says I'm sorry, I'm new to TikTok Live, so the things that are coming up so fast is actually hard to read because it's like this short little thing, but I'll do my best. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you're subscribing if you like to get higher perspectives of linear views. You like to be in contact with your spirit team. You like to hear messages from beyond. Please make sure you're hitting that like button. We love you so much. Thank you so much for being here. So, Howard Hughes, if you are in a place of love and light and healing and you wish to come forward with Archangel Michael, I invite you into my energy field so we can understand from your perspective what happened. What in the world happened? Okay, I want to know. I've always wanted to know. This story has fascinated me. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. So, Howard Hughes. Oh, yeah. So, okay. I don't even know where to begin. Oh, that's so funny. This says 12 on it. My little ball says 12 on it. He was born December 24th, 1905. Okay. And he crossed over April 5th, 1976. Now I was like, well, I wonder what his numerology is. So I added up the numbers, and the common numbers between them is 54 or 22 or 555 or 5544. Isn't that interesting? And he passed 4-5,
3.
but when you add up his birth date, it's 5,
Salos is following.
and when you add up his death date, it's 4. So isn't that interesting? So lots of 4s, lots of 5s. I bring that up because numbers are definitely, oh, you know what? Let me see. 4 is stability, structure, manifestation. 5 is conflict, change, instability. So he could have been born in an unstable environment, and then he passed on a 4, stability, structure, manifestation. He could have manifested some kind of structure or stability that was an over manifestation, almost like that's all he thought about, because he did have a severe OCD problem. Severe obsessive compulsive disorder. He suffered from a worsening, severe form of OCD marked by extreme germophobia, excessive hand washing, and compulsive behaviors related to cleanliness and control. Spirit might be wanting to educate us on the power of your mind and how wanting or thinking about all the time how you want stability and structure can actually manifest itself into OCD type behavior. So that's very interesting. So we'll continue. It also says that he passed when he was 70. He's from Houston, Texas. He died in Houston, Texas. He inherited his father's oil company, oil drill technology business, which made him a millionaire. It also said there's speculation that he contracted syphilis, which could have led to neurosyphilis and led to brain damage, psychosis, dementia. But I will say that Spirit said types of dreams, types of spirits, and Salos is following you. Let me see who Salos is. Salos. So we're just taking the clues as Spirit gives them. I don't know what's going to come up or what he wants to say. Oh, so Salos is a demon. Demon. And a candy, apparently. Licorice. German black licorice. Maybe he liked licorice. I don't know.
Sorry.
I am sorry. Oh.
Definitely.
Howard Hughes says he's sorry.
Gutter.
Oh my gosh. Gutter. Alright, Salos is a goetic daemon summoned by King Solomon according to the Lesser Key of Solomon. You know what? I've been getting King Solomon a lot lately. If he existed, we could definitely try to contact him on another reading.
Birthday.
Birthday 4. I'm sorry, I'm not accepting co-host. Thank you so much. So make sure you're hitting that like button so people can find us in the algorithm. It's greatly appreciated. It really helps the channel out to help get these messages out. All right, so I didn't say much about him. He causes the love of women to men and men to women and governs 30 legions of spirits. Astrologically, this spirit signifies forgetfulness and the release of unpleasant thoughts. Salus is a servant demon of those born between June 18th and the 22nd. Interesting. So basically, he's the spirit of forgetfulness and unpleasant thoughts. So like I said, this could be something about thoughts.
1960s.
He died in 1976. There's something about a manifestation of his thoughts for stability and structure, but his thoughts about stability and structure were not cultivated in a stable environment. They were desired due to conflict and instability. So there's something about his thoughts not aligning with something and causing some kind of distorted manifestation of what he thought all the time. Okay, thank you. That's the spirit of forgetfulness and unpleasant thoughts. So, and then I got a song. So I woke up and I got a song, and it was Sweet Nothing featuring Florence Welch by Calvin Harris. And I never read the lyrics to this before, but when I read them, I was like, oh my gosh, that's kind of sad. She says, "You took my heart and you held it in your mouth." So definitely very sensitive to words, things that people say or that someone said in their childhood. Very, growing up with somebody who's always like putting you down or making you feel inadequate, or my heart is in your mouth. So anything you say, I have allowed to hurt my heart, can hurt my heart, because you're somebody important to him. Perhaps his father. I'm really getting a figure of a man in my head. And with a word, all my love came rushing out. And every whisper, it's the worst, emptied out by a single word, there is a hollow in me now. So I'll put my faith in something unknown. I'm living on such sweet nothings. But I'm tired of hope with nothing to hold. I'm living on such sweet nothings. And it's hard to learn, and it's hard to love when you're giving me such sweet nothing. At the peak of sorrow, it's easy for me to let it go because I've swallowed every single word. And every whisper, every sigh eats away at this heart of mine, and there's a hollow in me now. Ugh, definitely sad. Definitely sad. But that's okay. We're gonna learn. So there's definitely something that he was trying to change. Definitely something that he was trying to change. I don't know why it does that. It just turns off. The live just turns off in the middle of it. I mean, I didn't say anything, but so there's something about manifesting his own instability. Okay? And he said, feeling sad, I am sorry. There's definitely something about him taking things to heart, wanting to control the outcome of things, wanting to let go of something in the past. Let's see. Howard Hughes, thank you so much. Please tell us more. Determination in reverse. Something about the rules. Illumination in reverse. Something he couldn't see about his determination, his hunger for something, his addictions, his restrictions, his egotism. Comfort in reverse. Determine in reverse. Illumination in reverse. Comfort in reverse. Something took his freedom away. Something possibly spiritual. Something he reflection in reverse. Something that he was wrong about. Something that because it says in the song, I'll put my faith in something unknown. There's something that he may have pursued, some kind of illusion, that rejection, that came from a rejection wound. It kind of feels like, are you saying your dad rejected you? I have faith, as I just said. So I'll put my faith in something unknown. This is like, he's like a thrill seeker. He's like somebody who doesn't like to stay comfortable, doesn't like to stay in one place. He's very impulsive. He's not a reflective person. He doesn't reflect on his emotions. He doesn't reflect on his impulsivity. He's just kind of like, I have the idea, let's do it. I have the money to do it. Flow. This is someone who is determined to find flow, but there's some kind of wound of rejection that's not reflected upon, that causes some kind of something he can't see. Caution. Something he should have been more careful about, and he said, I'm sorry. Something he wished he was more cautious about. Trust. Something he wished he didn't trust or put his trust in. Something about faith. Anger. Anger. And hunger. Yeah, he was chasing some kind of thrill because he was uncomfortable in peace or something. There's something about conflict. I know that he inherited a lot of money, and so I think he felt possibly like, or someone made him feel like he didn't deserve to have the money, or he had to live a certain way in order to be worthy of this fortune. So because of that, he could have been really used to conflict and stability emotionally. I'm sorry, I'm not taking any co-hosts. Thank you. He could have been passionate about some kind of spirituality, some kind of unknown, some kind of faith that's unknown to him. And I have passion and magic right here. And consciousness. Something that shifted his consciousness. Something he put all of his passion into. Something that was unknown to him. He was a thrill seeker. This is something that was like exciting to him. Something about energy. Something about energy. This was in reverse. He didn't know it would be the end of him, or he didn't know it would cause endings. There's something that he did that there's something he accepted as a rebirth to help him transform, but he had underlying fears, restrictions, and addictions, egotism and materialism. He thought this would give him freedom and happiness and good fortune, but it was an illusion. There were still things in his subconscious that he didn't have clarity on, that he didn't know were there, so he couldn't reflect on them. Something about some illusion he was in. What's this illusion? How can I find out about this illusion? I have a confession and I need your advice, please.
You're
Mm.
dead.
I'm
Regrets.
I'm so Spirit said regrets. I'm sorry, but we're talking about Howard Hughes regrets today. If you want to talk about it, you can email me or like we could do a personal reading. I don't really do personal readings, but if Spirit should have us do it, it will happen. Um, Tell me more. We'll look in literature of the Western world. Maybe there's a story or something that's kind of similar to what Howard Hughes went through. Tell me more. Marguerite de Navarre. What's this? Hmm. Marguerite de Navarre. Let me see. Um. Marguerite de Navarre? No. I don't. Oh, I said it wrong. Marguerite de Navarre. Yeah. April 11th to December 21st, 1492 to 1592. Influential diplomat and political activist, an outstanding patron of philosophers and artists, an accomplished writer and poet, and sister to King Francois of France, the mother of the Renaissance in France. Duchess of Alcyon and Berry. Wife of William the First, Queen of Sicily. From an early age, Marguerite was immersed in an environment that emphasized education and intellect. Oh, I gotcha. I gotcha. So, what was the religion of Navarre? Roman Catholicism. Mm,
Move west.
okay. So, something between them that's similar could be the way they were raised. Roman Catholic and with a strong emphasis on education and intellect. So right away off the
Astrological ages.
so right away off the bat,
Virginia.
a strong upbringing to be a certain way, and you're not worthy if you don't have this education, and you can't take the throne, so to speak, if you don't have these things in place. So definitely something about having like a strict upbringing that was very, you know, it needs to be a certain way. So that could have really conflicted with him when he got this, when he became the heir of all the money, and he's all of a sudden in charge of everything, and he has to he has to all of a sudden keep up the money and find different ways that makes him happy, how to, you know, get keep the money invested. Okay, so there's something about that. His father may have been villainous and cutthroat, and rarely pursued conversations with him, and was rarely alone with him. So they might have had a bruised and battered relationship. He may have thought it was peculiar that his father always faulted him, even when he made accidents. It was always about, perfection. So that could be where his OCD kind of was mastered, or where his anger and his OCD was kind of morphed or molded. And when he was young, through his father. His father didn't spend quality time with him, whenever he talked to him, it was mostly at at in rage, shouting at him to measure up to a certain impossible dream, because I have Don Quixote here, to dream the impossible dream. He could have projected a image or an ideal of how he wanted his son to be, and held it over his head about the money and stuff. But this person was very cutthroat. His father is very cutthroat. He's a fallen angel. It says right here, fallen knight. His father himself possibly could not, seeking vulnerabilities to exploit. He could have grew up watching his father not able to resist temptation and then thrash at him like a wild animal in rage. So a lot of anger, a lot of rage growing up, a lot of perfectionism, a lot of crying at night alone, not being, you know, it's not a good place to grow up in. So that's Howard Hughes's childhood. Okay. That's his childhood. But he managed to lift himself up from the ground with the greatest difficulty. He gathered together with splinters in his feet to take back the bridle and move on towards his own village. So he wanted to go out on his own. He wanted to do what he wanted to do. And when his father died, he became the heir of $1 million fortune. And he wanted to do, he was kind of like a wild youth. He had everything in his ability to do anything he wanted. So it's kind of like unbridled, I can do whatever I want. So definitely something about Dante's Inferno. He had to confess to himself that he was assured, and he had to raise his head to speak because he wanted to attract attention. He wanted to attract attention without making a confession. He tried to appear polished and transparent like glass, but his emotions ran deep to the bottom, so deep that they lost sight. What was clear to him in his eyes was faintly a pearl in the outline of other people. What? He tried to network with several faces because he wanted to appear to be that person who could invest into your project. I'm an investor. I'm somebody who has a lot of investment opportunities. He wanted to be perceived as someone who was opposite of how his father treated him. He wanted to appear to be he wanted to appear to be
tattered curtains,
some kind of expert. He wanted to appear to be attractive. He kind of wanted to be a celebrity. He wanted Narcissus. It says right here, between the man Narcissus and the spring. I'm not saying he was a Narcissus. I'm talking about Narcissus, the Greek tale where he's looking at himself in the mirror. There's something that he wanted to convince people that he didn't actually think he was. Okay, so he was trying to control the way that people were viewing him because he had money and he had the ability to invest, and so he wanted to appear polished and he wanted to appear transparent and clear, but really he was he was a bottomless pit of emotions. So he might have been, I'm sorry, I'm not taking any co-hosts. So he might have been amused at being childish. He was very childish. He didn't trust a lot of people. He wasn't able to perceive from a higher perspective with holy eyes. He he toward he turned toward many delusions about himself through substances because people kept failing to keep their vows to him. There's something about some kind of unrequited vow and people not following through because he had he was embarrassed by excessive desire. He was enjoying his life of sweetness and richness, but he was never truly understood because anyone who got close to him wasn't keeping their vows and he couldn't trust them. I gotcha. So he's basically saying, I had all this money and I had a tumultuous relationship with my father, and when I got the money and I lost my father, I had a hole in my heart that I was trying to fill by having people accept me, by having people think that I'm worthy enough, that I'm polished, that I'm pristine, that I'm debonair, like an actor or something, or like a celebrity. And so but he really has, a lot of confessions about his deep emotions and how he truly doesn't feel that way. So when he started networking and investing in all the things he was investing in, because he's trying to live up to the standard of his father, but also look like the standard his father placed on him. He started making friends, but these friends never kept their vow to him. They never lived up to, what their promises. So he's networking, making friends, thinking like this is what I'm supposed to do to look like what my father wanted me to look like. And I'm doing all these things, but my heart is still empty and I'm still hollow because none of them truly care about me. None of them truly want my best at heart. They're using him, because he's the investor, he's the millionaire, or something like that. So definitely attracted to seeking attention, attracted to substances, attracted to human, sex, sex. I was like human sex. Just kidding. Okay, so that's interesting because he kind of grew up with somebody who is as cold as ice and always felt constrained. Like his house, like the house he lived in, he couldn't touch anything. He couldn't, he couldn't have any fun as a child. It was always business. It was all business. There's no time made for him to be a child. So he had to grow up pretty fast. Oh, you mad words are these you let escape you. Child, you know my blood, my bones are yours. No one could whip this out of me. I'll be a woman turned to stone, iron I'll be. And let me tell you, too, mind now, if God cuts down the arrogant suitors by your hand, I can report to you on all the maids, those who dishonor you and the innocent. Homer's The Odyssey. Yeah, so it's like he had this weird rejection wound that his father.
I'm supposed to grow old.
I was supposed to grow old. He had this weird rejection wound that his father put there about, you're part of this family. You have to be a certain way, and you have to, marry a certain person that has to fit the mold of our family. It's very just what's the word I want to say? Totalitarianism. Totalitarianism, something like that. Okay. Tell us more. So what's weird about this is that magic came up, faith came up, and consciousness and energy came up. So can you tell us more about that, Spirit? Let me see. Tell me more. What is this magic and consciousness? Howard Hughes, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being here. He says, F them. So he's angry at his dad. He said, fuck them. He's angry at his dad for not nurturing him, not giving him the feminine energy he needed to kind of be more well-rounded. He was definitely an attention seeker and wanted to appear to be some kind of like major investor, somebody who has connections. Somebody's grandma loves them. His grandma may have loved him. Your ancestors are whooping butt for you. Blessings and lessons and devils, necessary devils. Fake friends. I told you, fake friends. I can't make it up. Yeah, he may have grown up in an abusive house, and so it really altered the way that he needed attention from people. He needed to be accepted. He was like a people pleaser, okay? And he had fake friends around him that were actually devils, that were situationships, that were toxic. And so he couldn't trust anybody. So that's why he wanted to be alone, or partly the reason, because every time he let someone in, they just wanted his money. Or they just wanted something that he had, you know. But he wasn't responsible, and he didn't have discipline. And there's something about his mother that could have damaged him as well. Take time to be alone on your own. They want your wealth. Who needs enemies when you have friends? Yeah, he could have been an alcoholic, addicted to drugs. Make plans for time away. Karmic coworkers, toxic family dynamic. Remember, it's supposed to be fun. I think that's the main I think that's one of the main takeaways of this energy. Remember, it's supposed to be fun. He grew up in an environment where it was never fun, where it was never happy-go-lucky. It was always business. It was always like, what's going to go towards the business, the family business? More, 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 you know? It was always like that. And so he didn't exactly know how to operate once his father died. He didn't have that rigidity, and so he kind of like went all the way to the right, where he was just, you know, doing crazy things, and just he had all the money at his fingertips, so he's going to he's going to exotic places, and he's meeting exotic people, and he's discovering, you know, different types of spirituality, and he's meeting, you know, he's shaking hands with celebrities, and he thought that this is what he wanted. He wanted to be accepted by these people, but really it was because he never was accepted by his father. Silence was golden. That's why he became a recluse, because as he was going into his life, stability, structure, manifestation. I can't make it up. Didn't I say that in the beginning? Number 4. Love and pleasure. He was seeking stability and structure, he's trying to manifest that, but his thoughts were of needing acceptance and validation. And so he's trying to seek stability and structure by controlling his environment and controlling the people that come into his life. But that's not bringing him love. That's not out of love. It's out of fear. It's out of fear of people taking what he has, and not being able to trust people, not being able to have faith in people. So he's also thinking that at the same time. So if you guys watch us and you go to Spirit News, we're teaching you about energy, and thoughts are energy. Your thoughts, you have thoughts. You are Transcendentalism, thank you.
Hut building.
Okay, say you grew up in a unstable home and you grow to be an adult and you have freedom of thought now, you have your own thoughts and you didn't like the way you grew up. Well, at some point, you're going to have to let go of the way you grew up in order to create a new future for yourself. Otherwise, you're going to
Shower.
receive your manifestations in the energy, in the unhealed energy you thought them in. So for Howard Hughes, his desires, his what he wanted to manifest was stability and structure. But because he wasn't manifesting those things out of a place of love. It was more out of control, to control the people that came in, control the environment he was in. And so he developed a severe obsessive compulsive disorder. Now, this may have been developed when he was a child because his father projected such perfectionism on him that he would be punished by anger if he didn't, be in a certain level of perfection. And so that's where his OCD started. But as time went on and he didn't have his father's structure anymore, he had to create his own structure. But because he didn't heal that wound of needing validation and needing to have some kind of stability, there's something that he manifested that became, that made him a recluse, that made him alone, that made him, not want to let anybody in, that kept bringing him forged documents, that kept bringing him fake people. So because he kept needing people to validate him, they never wanted you to surpass them. It's not about winning, but all right, tell us more. So what happened with this? There's something about faith, consciousness, magic, and energy. Tell us about that. What is that? Some kind of imbalance in these areas. Why was there an imbalance? Why was there an imbalance with these things? Thank you so much, Howard Hughes. Thank you so much, Archangel Michael, my angels, for being with us. Thank you so much, everybody. Do you know what happened to me? We're going to figure it out. It says superstitiousness and paranoia. I think he may have done something that... It says, why did Howard Hughes go mad? Leading him to become a recluse obsessed with cleanliness, avoid human contact, and isolate himself from the world. It also says he was in a plane crash, but why? There's something going on here that's definitely strange. Make the best out of every situation. And look at him. He's alone. He's alone on an island. He was scared of something. He was scared of something getting him. He was scared of something trying to attack him. So he decided, well, if everyone's out to get me, then I'll just be on this island. Yeah, and there's crocodiles at the bottom. So there's something that Spirit said superstitiousness, and AI says paranoia, addiction and paranoia. What's this paranoia? Of being watched? Of being watched while he's sleeping. Something that scared him. I know that owls in the occult are a symbol for the occult. There may have been something that he did or used to do at night. He may have opened some kind of window. He may have been half in, half out of some kind of window. And he always felt like he was being watched because of that. And whenever he came into contact with somebody, while this window was open, something bad would happen. What's this window? What is this window that you're talking about? Is this metaphorical? Hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil. Something with some higher ups. He may have seen evil. He may have seen something evil. Something that his parents would be appalled at. Something with possibly animals. It doesn't have to be, but he definitely did witness something evil or participate in something evil, something that his parents would roll over in the grave about, or something that his spirit team couldn't help or protect him from, something that made him rejected by his spirit team. What is this honey? Honey could be metaphorical for a fortune, or it could represent food. This detective is on his back, so I'm not sure if he's the detective or if he's the guy on the ground. But definitely either witnessed or participated, or both, in something that his spirit team could not help him with after, couldn't protect him from. And I say spirit team because they have no bodies and they're just heads, and there's a bird, which usually represents spirit to me. And I have the 3 evil monkeys, so there's definitely something evil that he participated in. He could have been on some kind of substance at the time, or honey could be alcohol. As I said that. Yeah, that put him on some kind of wild ride. This could have been the cause of his superstitiousness or his paranoia, because after he did whatever this is, it opened some kind of window and made him feel as if he was being watched or
Ask me.
being messed with in some way. Unimagined. Something he never imagined would happen. I also have over here some kind of illusion, or some kind of illusion he was under. What is this? What's cooking? Something about spirit cooking, or... Because look at this little girl. She's like... Doesn't she look colorless? Like she's dead or something? Hmm. He made a mistake. He did something that he regretted. Something that he couldn't forgive himself for, or he couldn't forget. Something he did. Why did you do it? What was the situation that made you feel like you had to do this, whatever this is? Come back with the ball. Something he did in the shadows with people who are in their shadows. Like I said, he wanted to appear like he was this, great investor with lots of networking, with lots of people he knew. He wanted to, live dangerously. He wanted to be the opposite of his father. His father was very rigid and strict.
Plantation.
Plantation. His father,
Moving aboard.
Oh, a Ouija board. I told you he opened some kind of window with with 3 people. As I say that, 3 people under the moon. He did some kind of spiritual ritual thing at a party. You know, back in that time, spiritualism was very different. It was very like seances and Ouija boards, and you have parties, and they have a little party where they, you know, have a group seance. It was very different. It was very, they just didn't know about energy, okay? And it still goes on today, honestly. It still goes on today. Mm. Let's dance on some clouds on this day in June, as happy as can be under a smiling moon. Oh my gosh, Salos. Remember I said Salos in the beginning? This is the 19th spirit summoned by King Solomon. Summoned through a Ouija board. I cannot make it up. 3. I told you 3. I have 3 people here. I have 3 people here. I have 3 people here. 3 people here. He was with 3 people and they played with the Ouija board for fun under substances, and he opened up a window. He opened up a window to another world, to another. Oh yeah, in June. Where was that? Under this on this day in June, as happy as can be under a smiling moon. Moon magic. And it says right here that the goetic demon Salos causes the love of women to men and men to women. So love spell or whatever. And is the spirit of forgetfulness and unpleasant thoughts. And and uh and as a servant for the month of June 18th to the 22nd. And this says June, on this day in June.
Ask me again later.
And Spirit said, summon through a Ouija board. Oh, you guys, you can't play with divination if you're not in Christ consciousness. And when you get to Christ consciousness, you don't even need divination. You are the divination. You are the Ouija board. You're the living, breathing Ouija board. When you are in an energy like he was, where he was seeking validation from men and women, where he was feeling, inadequate, like felt a hollow in his heart. When you start messing with spiritual stuff and you're magnetic, you're electromagnetic, so you're going to attract what you are in the moment. And if you're with multiple people who are all at different levels of attraction that are not in heart consciousness, then you will attract those lower astral energies that know your thoughts, that take advantage of you, that know that you don't know anything about energy. So there's something about him opening some kind of window, summoning Salos, because possibly he wanted men or women to love him with this group of people, and that could have been a cause of his paranoia, of his illusion that he made of why he needed isolation, because he kept experiencing some kind of supernatural stuff. Yeah, look at this. See the crab getting the dog's ear, and I also have a dog here.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. I have a dog here. He's the dog.
Newspaper article.
He got some kind of energy attachment that kept messing with him, that kept giving him unfortunate events. Newspaper article. Oh, you know what?
To cause fear.
To cause fear. This, whatever he,
Entities of darkness.
entities of darkness, I can't make it up, you guys, because he messed with magic with these people he was networking with, some kind of higher ups, that witnessed him open up some kind of portal or something. He got an energy attachment because, you're playing around with things you don't understand. So he took home some kind of dark energy attachment that was causing him fear all the time. Let me see. I think he got into a plane accident. Let me see. How am I going to say that? Howard Hughes plane accident newspaper article in July 8th, 1946 detailed the near fatal crash of Howard Hughes' prototype Reconnaissance plane on its maiden flight in Beverly Hills, California. The aircraft's rear propeller reversed its pitch due to a hydraulic fluid leak, causing a yard yaw and loss of altitude. Hughes, despite severe injuries, including third-degree burns, crushed chest, and collapsed lungs, survived the crash and went on to design a custom hospital bed, which is considered a precursor to modern hospital beds. Nearly $1 billion wasted. Well, let's see. Howard Hughes, was this plane crash caused by your Was this plane crash caused by your dark energy attachment? Yes. Hold on, I gotta put the puzzle piece in or my live's gonna end. Okay, there we go. Howard Hughes, were you playing with spiritual practices?
Electricity.
Yes. Were you introduced to spiritual practices by people in your inner circle? No. Did you invite people to partake in spiritual practices that you found? Yes. Uh, did someone give you this knowledge? Yes. Or did you witness someone doing this and you decided to do it your own way? Yes. Were you with other people when you did it? No. Oh. Was the first time you did it you saw somebody else do it, but you didn't participate?
Priory.
Yes. Okay, I gotcha. But
Description.
but then you decided to do it on your own alone. Yes, I gotcha. So you accidentally invited a dark energy attachment? Yes. It made you paranoid and delusional and it got you in a state of fear all the time? Yes. Ugh. Oh, my nose is so itchy. My nose is so itchy. I'm sorry I'm not co-hosting today. Oh, what else can he tell us? What else can you tell us about what you went through?
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Community.
Community, yeah. After the initial elation of setting off on the journey and discovering the wonders that are there for exploration, he came to a point where he encountered demons and dragons. I cannot make it up, you guys. I cannot make it up. I would never make it up. The sun hidden behind the clouds, it rains and the wind blows. The journey isn't that pleasant anymore, and we wonder why we began it. From behind the clouds comes the dragons, and we are faced with a choice. Do we fight it or flee from it? If we fight it, we may well preserve the status quo, but at the cost of bearing the power that the dragon represents. At an individual level, this may mean that we repress and foolishly believe we have conquered our sexuality, our greed, our lust for power. At a collective level, we may repress an awareness of the dragon force of the earth currents that run through the land. If instead of supposedly fighting and mastering the dragon, we flee from it, it will continue to haunt the woods and the hilltops or the sea, ready to harm us if we ever return there. A third approach, the approach of both the ancient wisdom traditions and of psychosynthesis, involves befriending the dragon. One of the purposes of vision questing is to do this. In the Native American tradition, you stay alone in a secluded place outdoors for at least 3 days. In the Tibetan tradition, these quests occur for 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3-year periods. In the Christian tradition, isolated retreats have also been part of spiritual practice. He may have hermited himself because he thought that that's what he needed to do to get rid of this dragon. But what happened? Sometimes these quests would have occurred in circumstances designed to create the effect of sensory deprivation, to which end trainee bards would seal themselves in pitch-black rooms and lie with a stone on their chest. The stone seems a strange prescription until we realize that bards were making use of a technique well known to modern psychology, that of creating one overriding sensory input in order to block out all others. Nowadays we use white noise fed in through headphones to the seeker in an isolation tank. Shamans use drumming partly for similar purpose. After a while, the brain becomes habituated to this one monotonous repetitive input and blocks even that out. A familiar example of habituation is that of a
chocolates,
ticking clock. Even though it may be loud, after a while we don't perceive the ticks anymore. Our brain hears them, but stops bothering to pass the message up to our consciousness until it changes. So there's something about him seeking advice to reset his sensory, reset his senses. He could have gained techniques from psychologists who have doctorate degrees, but there's something that he didn't realize was going to change or that held back this process, because he wasn't sensory deprived. He still had the drugs and he still had the pain and he still had the subconscious unhealed thoughts that he would think all the time. So he didn't make friends with the dragon. He was still pushing the dragon away, trying to not face it, not face his demons. The long man is not a man, he's a woman. He's not a mighty god carved on the hillside, she is a goddess. So he definitely, well, when he grew up, he was a very masculine, patriarchal household. And so he was lacking the nurturing of a mother. So he was not balanced in his masculine and feminine energies. And so when he grew up and he was seeking validation that, a mother could give, nurturing that a mother could give, people let him down. So he became always like a thrill seeker or like an attention getter. He always had to be doing the next thing, the next biggest thing, being with different people and being promiscuous and partying. And, he witnessed rituals that he wanted to have his own ritual because he didn't understand, the implications of playing around with that stuff. And so he got some kind of energy attachment. He could have sought some kind of advice from someone who has a doctorate or in psychology. And even the description of what happened to him is very masculine. It's very like his OCD and his, it's very just like black and white. But according to this, it's not black and white. It's something that is very deep and emotional, and it also involves some kind of energy manipulation, something that was very popular at the time. Oh, it's making me feel nauseous, honestly. What time are we at? Does it say a time on here? Oh.
Consumed by shadows.
Consumed by shadows.
Sarah.
Sarah, Sara, could be significant. All right. Anything else you'd like to tell us? Something about King Solomon could have been significant. He could have used King Solomon's book or something. Market Watch Phantom. Spirit Detective. He could have sought spiritual advice because he wanted to be able to. It's amazing how efficient a detective you can be when you're not slowed down by things like self preservation or walls. Yeah, he wanted to have a leg up. Fake your own death. Fake your own death.
I can't answer that.
Doesn't it look like the
1800s.
portrait of Dorian Gray? You know, in that story, Dorian Gray has everything he wants, and he doesn't believe there's some kind of sacrifice he made or deal he made with the portrait, where the portrait will reveal what he truly looks like and he gets to live forever. So there's some kind of arrangement or deal or sacrifice he tried to make to live forever or to, be known forever or to have, to be a legend, to be legendary or whatever. And that was what sealed his fate. That was what sealed his fate. Ugh. Um, instead of whatever he made a deal with, it could have promised him, that he would be able to rule the spirits and that the spirits will work for that him and he'll
Be
be
anxious about.
and he'll be able to have like a leg up over like competition because he has a bird's eye view because of whatever spirit he was working with. It says spirit said Salos in the beginning, which is a demon from King Solomon's book, but those things lie. Those are trickster entities. They weren't gonna. They may have helped in certain situations, but then whatever they gave, they would take in another area. So they gave him this plane. They gave him his plane, and I don't know why he had to test it himself, but he almost died, and so, that was part of this deal he made. But in doing that deal, he got the bed. So it's like he spent $1 billion, lost the plane, but he and he almost died. But he got the bed that was made for all the hospitals across the world. So it's kind of like a weird, inverted manifestation where it takes something to give something. It has to take something to give something. But that's not how divine energy works. When you're in correct, when you're in Christ consciousness, you don't have to give something to get something. I mean, you do, but it's discipline, it's responsibility, it's love, it's time. It's not like your soul or something. It's not for material wealth, it's for energetic wealth, okay? It's not for, a bank account, it's for energetic abundance. It's to be wealthy in your energy. And when you're wealthy in your energy, then you attract abundance. You attract the things that match it. Okay? So there's some kind of weird distortion about receiving things, but receiving them at what cost? Okay? I gotcha. Well, how can we heal it? Thank you so much for sharing. How can we heal it? So that's why he became a recluse. That's why he became paranoid. He really lived a crazy life. He wanted the notoriety. He was promised to have spiritual authority and to be able to use spirits in order to gain what he wanted. But he was like Dorian Gray. You know what? Let me look up the story of Dorian Gray. Let me just be sure that that's accurate. The story of Dorian Gray. Let me do AI mode. A handsome young man who makes a Faustian bargain. That's what it is. He made a Faustian bargain to remain perpetually youthful, while a painted portrait of him bears the burden of age and sin. Written in 1890 by Oscar Wilde. A naive and charismatic young man, at the beginning of the story, he becomes enamored with his own beauty and falls under the corrupting influence of Lord Henry Wotton, leading him down a path of hedonism and moral decay. That's Howard Hughes. He's the story of Dorian Gray. He made a Faustian bargain. Yep. And he also contracted syphilis, apparently, which would be the hedonistic part, where he was for everybody, you know? He's for everybody. Like, I mean, everybody. Okay? So he made a Faustian bargain. He was promised notoriety. He was promised all the things, and he got exactly what he wanted, but he also had to give something. He had to give his sanity. He was always paranoid. He was being followed. He was being watched because he allowed a dark energy attachment to trick him, because he had a wound of rejection where he had to always be validated all the time. He had to be the center of attention. He had to be the big boss, be the big D swinging, okay? Energetic clearing. During crises, the Holy One herself may be emptying you of fear and attachments, preparing you to receive her luminous path. Yes, it's just like the book said. When you have three options. You can face your demons, you can try to attack your demons, you can try to run from your demons, or you can make friends with them. And when you make friends with them, you make a path to clear the attachments that you have to those demons when you actually accept those parts of yourself. But if you refuse to look at certain things that make you are emotionally vulnerable or emotionally inept, if you're not willing to take a look at that, then that'll be the death of you. You will be matching that energy, that emotional energy in motion, okay? And so that's what happened to him. He had attachments and he had fears and he had many things that he did not transmute when he conjured this energy. And this energy used it against him to make him feel empty, to make him feel like it was never enough, to have him always chasing, to have him in a determination mode where he was determined to, you know, be rid of this. Instead of facing it and accepting it, he turned his back from it and tried to ignore it, tried to pretend that it wasn't happening. Okay, and that's why it it amplified itself. And it kept getting bigger and bigger. Surrender. I can't make it up. Because he couldn't surrender to the fact that his own worth, I can't make it up, that he did not find himself worthy of all that he had, because he was never made to feel worthy to begin with. He could not surrender. Sometimes learning to surrender can feel as if you're dying. The ego learns what's hardest: to stop trying to control the whole universe. You have been worthy to belong to love all along, without any need to improve. In fact, you are love itself. If he had just accepted and surrendered to the fact that he was imperfect, that he was who he was, and he was never going to live up to his father's impossible dream of who he should be, if he never had that wound, he wouldn't have needed to seek out this type of validation. And he would have never had that energy attachment because he wouldn't have needed to look like some kind of cool guy or to have some kind of spiritual authority so he could have a one up over everybody. So, abundance is a state of mind. Yep. Anything else, Howard? Anything else? Divine love. Gratitude, divine source. Yes. Instead of being grateful, he sees now that he's so grateful for what he had. If he had just lived in that energy of not having to have any problems, of being taken care of being worthy enough to have the fortune, then none of this would have happened. He would have been going on a path of divine love, of divine source. He could have used his money in many different ways to help people, come back to their own divinity, to find a spiritualist that matched his healed energy. So that way they weren't performing or conjuring, or summoning things. They were actually finding their own power within themselves to make change in the world. Okay. And he sees that now from a higher perspective. Oh, well, thank you so much, Howard Hughes. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I love you so much. We'll be here tomorrow. We're going to do a true crime. I don't know which one yet. I was thinking of doing the Blackstone shootings, the Blackstone investment shootings with that young man who played football. I'm sorry, his name is eluding me right now, but that could be a sign that we're not ready for that yet. Because I would like to see why he shot that up. Would anyone else be interested in knowing about that or asking him why he did that? Let me know. Let me know. Thank you everyone for being here. I hope you have a great weekend and we'll see you tomorrow.